Hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Mr. 411. Today is October 14th, 2015, and this is the NBA Preview Edition. Tonight's a special night. The season is upon us. They're currently playing preseason basketball now. And with me tonight, I have two special guests, NBA experts, Rod and Wacy. What's going on, fellas?
Nothing much, right, man. I'm just enjoying life, man.
Same here, man. Same here. Just enjoying life and just having fun, man. I'm ready to talk some basketball.
That's right. And that's what we're here for, man. We're here to talk this basketball tonight. Rod, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
I've been knowing Wacy for a while. First of all, we're both from Macon, Georgia. And so we've just been fans of the game for so long. I'm from the era of Michael Jordan, obviously. I was born in the 80s, but I'm one of those unique fellas that preferred Magic, and Kareem. I'm a diehard Laker fan. Make no apologies about it. Yes. Make no apologies about it. But all in all, I just love the game of basketball, and I could talk about it all day long.
That's what's up. What's up, Wacy?
What's up, man? Same here with me, man. Pretty much an 80s guy. Obviously I'm an MJ guy. I'm the opposite. And just like Ron said, man, we've been knowing each other for a good little minute, man. And I'm just a fan of the game, man. I just love the game. I'm an MJ guy, but I just love all basketball, so that's just where I'm at with it.
That's right. Hey, what's there not to love about Magic? Kareem, Jordan, Pippen, Rodman.
Hey, can't go wrong.
Come on, the list go on and on. Worthy, Kobe, Shaq.
Yeah, man.
Can't go wrong.
Phil Jackson.
Can't go wrong.
Pat Riley. Come on. You talking about
can't go wrong.
Yeah, so that's two strong franchises there. A great franchise to be fans of. But look, I was listening to a little bit of what you guys said. You're from Macon, Georgia. I currently reside in Macon, Georgia. I'm a Maconite, originally from Columbus, Georgia. That's my hometown. So I enjoy both locations, and like you guys, I love the game, man. I love the game of basketball, and so let's get into it. Let's start off with a little bit of an icebreaker. You guys kind of already answered the question, but outside, let's just do it this way. Outside of Magic Johnson, Rod, who's your favorite basketball player? Outside of Magic.
Outside of Magic is Kareem.
All right.
Me and Wacy, we've had several debates. I'm one of these people, the notion that, I just think we've been programmed to say Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. But when you go and look at the numbers and look at the fact that this man, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, has just as many championships. He's top three in three statistical categories all time. He dominated college. He won on separate teams, different coaches, you name it. I, for one, feel like Kareem's the greatest of all time. I just think Michael Jordan, and this is no slight at Mike. I think Mike is one of the greatest of all time. But I'm going with Kareem, and I feel like Mike just had the advantage of being such a media mogul, so he put so much money behind him and shoes and all that stuff there. And when you get into all of that, you're gonna sway that way, but. Kareem, that man there's just, his numbers are just eye-popping.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. Kareem is, and they also had to eliminate the slam dunk because of Kareem, I believe, at one point in time. At the college level for sure. And that helped him out, as far as developing that skyhook. So that's another weapon added to the 7-footer. Wacy, outside of MJ. Outside
of MJ, I'm a LeBron guy. But I'm not gonna speak on LeBron because I'm gonna talk about a guy that I kind of was in the MJ era, and I used to love his game, and I felt like, he injuries really hurt his career. and he never really got a chance to reach his full potential. That was Anthony Hardaway.
Penny.
Yeah, Penny Hardaway, that was my guy, man. And he was unique. You know, he reminded me a lot of Magic, you know, being a big 6'7" point guard, but he could also, he was a little bit better scorer than Magic. I think Penny was lacking, maybe killer instinct or something like that, because I felt like they should have beat Houston in that championship. He laid back a lot. I thought he should have, you know, kind of took it to Kenny Smith a little bit more than what he did. But outside of MJ, you know, Penny, he's my guy, man. He was a unique talent. Obviously his career was short. It ended short because of injuries or whatever. But you know, I just wanted to speak on him because he's one of those guys that, you know, a lot of people, you know, they'll look over him because, you know, he didn't have longevity or whatever. But, you know, outside of MJ, obviously LeBron, Penny was my guy.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and to piggyback on what Wasey said, man, I just got to say this. I really felt like, you know, growing up in the 90s, man, like we really got cheated, you know, both ways, because not only Penny, man, but we lost Grant Hill. So, I mean, those two guys there, had they stayed healthy, would definitely be in the top echelon of players. So, kind of got cheated in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, both of those guys they both were definitely on their way to NBA stardom. We're talking like Hall of Fame, you know,
right,
first ballot type of level and championship level as well. I mean, Penny Hardaway and Shaq on the same squad. I mean, and they had a mixture of veterans on that team. You know, even though they lost to Houston, I think if they stuck together, they would have bounced back maybe the following year. So, you know, that was those are some great players there.
I just and see, I gained a lot of respect, you know, because I'm a Jordan fan, and then I saw Penny, you know, I seen him straight take it to Jordan, and you know they had to put Pippen on him, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean he was taking it to Jordan, man. So, you know, when I seen him doing those kind of things, you know, along with just watching him, you know, I grew a different respect for him, and I hated to see his career end like that, you know, those injuries. So
yeah,
you know that, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole part of this thing. You know, look at Tim Duncan, and he's able to hang around as long as he has, you know, no major injuries, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So he could prolong those careers. I mean, Kobe's just now facing those type of things, but, you know, he's in his 20th season. So, and Kevin Garnett, guys like that, they're able to hang around. You know, the injury bug, you know, can shorten a career. Hey, one of the players that's one of my all-time favorite players is Isaiah Thomas. You know, being a small guy, you know, watching Isaiah play, man, the ball handling. I mean, they talk about killer crossovers by Tim Hardaway, guys like that. But, you know, Isaiah Thomas was killer crossover, you know, from day one.
Yeah.
You know, he was throwing 4 or 5 of them on you. You know, tough guy, too. Wanted to win. You know, went to the NBA Finals that he was not even participating in. And got in that locker room, you know, to see what it's like to win and, you know, just the hunger to push a franchise that was at the bottom and get at the championship level. That was a real tough guy. Sometimes he get overlooked because of, you know, he was in the era with Bird and the era with Magic, you know, and then you have overlapping that, you know, you got Michael Jordan. So, but he was able to find his way despite all of that. So, you know, Isaiah's
and Michael Jordan hating on him too.
Hey, there's no love between those two. Yeah, no love between those two guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that's good. That's good stuff there, fellas. So, you know, we're here to discuss the upcoming season, 2015-16 season. A lot of big things have happened over the summer with, you know, the San Antonio Spurs, you know, signing LaMarcus Aldridge. You know, the Atlanta Hawks, you know, had a franchise winning season. So there's a lot of good things that was going on. Golden State Warriors won the championship. You know, it took the last time they did that was 40 years ago. So congratulations to them. And but now it's 2015, and let's check out some of these divisions, and we can start with the Southeast Division. The defending champions in that division are the Atlanta Hawks. But Wasey, give us your thoughts on the Southeast Division.
Okay, in the Southeast, obviously Atlanta's gonna compete, man. But I'm going with a team, Miami Heat, to win that division, man. A team that didn't even make the playoffs last year. Barring injury, man, I feel like they did great things in the off season. A lot of their moves, haven't got a lot of publicity, but adding guys like Gerald Green, Marty Stoudemire, you got guys coming back off injury, Chris Bosh. I just feel like those guys, if barring injury, if everybody's healthy, I know that's a big if,
right.
with some of the age on the team, and D-Wade, obviously, he's injury prone, pretty much every year. But barring injury, I'm just speaking on barring injury, I got Miami winning that division, man. I think their depth, along with what they got in the starting lineup, I think they're gonna be too strong if they can stay healthy. Luol Deng, and I think they got the steal of the draft with Justice Winslow, falling to number 10 to them. So, like I said, they just got a lot of depth. Not there's no knock on Atlanta. I know Atlanta's going to be right there, but I got Miami to win that division, Southeast.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. What you got, Rod?
Well, I'm gonna stay down with A-Town, man. Reason being is, I hear what Wace is saying about barring injury, but I got a feeling that Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, they're not going to put the pedal to the metal the entire year. I think they're going to rest guys. I think they're going to, it's not about, winning the conference or winning the division. We just want to get to the playoffs healthy. I think when you got such a veteran-laced team like that, I think they're going to really just pace themselves. They'll have a strong record. They'll be a top 4 seed, and I think that's all they really want. And then going to the playoffs as healthy as possible. I think if they do that, they'll be happy versus Atlanta. They're a little bit more of a younger team, get up and down. And I just got a feeling that, Atlanta, they're going to really try to continue to win during the season. And, they kind of want to show everybody that it wasn't a fluke last year. So I think they're going to play with a little chip on their shoulder.
All right. So Rod's going with the Hawks. Closely followed by the Heat. And Wasey has it the other way around. I like the moves that Miami has made. They added some veterans. They added some athleticism. They bring back a healthy Bosh. Wade is going to at least play half the season. And they're well coached. But I can say the same thing for the Hawks. And I just think it's going to be, man, this is a tough one here, fellas. But I'm going to go with Miami. I think Miami's going to win this division, but it's going to be very close. I mean, my heart says go with the Hawks, but I think it's going to be a close one. With the Whiteside and Bosh combination up front, I'm just a little concerned about the Hawks
combo.
Yeah, I just got a little concerned about Atlanta dealing with that. I know they brought in a splitter.
Now, I just want to say this. Now, it's two different. I got two different ways of looking at this. Now, what I'm saying is regular season. I'm saying Hawks going to win the regular season. Now, if they meet in the playoffs, I believe Miami would beat them. But I'm saying regular season, Miami's going to pace themselves.
Right, exactly. You got the Southeast, that's what we're doing. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, if you have the Hawks feel like they're going to win the division, there's nothing wrong with that because like I say, I think it's nip and tuck. But I just think for some reason Miami will, like Wasey was saying, barring injury, I think they have the right mix to be consistent throughout the entire season, enough to win the division. I think they're going to also have to understand, like, look, it's important to win this division because you don't want to have to play the Hawks and not have home court advantage. So, it's nip and tuck, but I'm going to go with the Heat as far as just predicting who's going to win division. Obviously, Atlanta's going to be right there too, and and as far as Charlotte and Washington, I feel like the Wizards, they're going to be a tough out. I mean, they're going to give this division a run too, but I just don't think they're going to finish ahead of those two teams in the division.
Right, and I think with Washington, I think the loss of Paul Pierce was big.
Yeah.
Not just per se on the floor, but just his presence. You know, that tough guy, that veteran guy. You know, that that championship DNA.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be a formidable group, but I think they're gonna take a step back. You know, for as that goes, because I don't think they'll be as mentally tough as they were last year. I just think that's a big blow.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Otto Porter, soaked in a lot of that information from Paul Pierce and, a lot of leadership and how to carry yourself, because Otto Porter's going to have to step right into that small forward slot and do some good things for the Wizards. And so hopefully
I want to say something.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to say something too. I mean, obviously, Washington. I think I'm picking them to be third as well. I think they got a solid team. But I want to say this about Orlando. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be one of those teams like you think you're just going to go in there and run them off the court. They're not going to be a doormat anymore. You have to go in there and beat Orlando now. I've been, I live here in Orlando, and so I've been watching a lot of their preseason games, and guys like Tobias Harris and Oladipo, they've taken the next step in maturity, and you're not going to be able to come to Orlando and just blow them out like you did last year.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. They're much improved. And I like Scott Skiles as their coach, too.
Yeah.
I like Scott Skiles. He's gritty,
Oh, yeah.
Plus, he played there. Okay. You guys want to move on to the Atlantic Division?
Yeah. That's the worst division in the NBA.
Wow. Is this the NFC South
I mean,
of the NBA?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I mean,
who else in this division? The Celtics, the Knicks, Toronto. We got teams like that in this division.
I mean, Toronto gonna definitely win that division. I mean, going away. I mean, the rest of them are horrible. I mean, the only bright spot of the other teams even pay attention to is to see will New York implode or take a next step, and then obviously in Philly, you want to watch Jahlil Okafor, who the Lakers took number 2, and really just see him develop. But other than that, man, I mean, it's Toronto by a mile.
I agree.
Oh yeah, hey, I agree too, man. Like I said, it's a weak division. Like you said, it's the weakest division in basketball. New York Knicks, I'm gonna keep an eye on them because I don't know if they take that next step. I was almost willing to say that earlier, but when I kept thinking about it with the draft pick and all of this Derek Fisher stuff going on, a lot of that stuff plays into the psyche of guys, man. And when your leader is, when he's
across country fighting,
right? When he's off, that kind of throws things off. So I was ready to say New York may take a step, but I may have to wait and see on that. But the Atlantic, like you said, yeah, like we all agree, I got Toronto winning that by a mile. So.
Yeah, I love Toronto, man. I think they're gonna walk away with that division as well. They have bigger fish to fry, like trying to get out the first round, and I'm sure we'll touch on that kind of stuff later. But yeah, based on the other matchups, I mean, you can just keep an eye on Boston. I mean, they're well coached, and but. I mean, that's about all you need to do is just keep an eye on them. They have some young talent, but Toronto, man, they're looking like they're building something nice up north. So Toronto is my pick as well. Central Division. Oh, go ahead.
I mean,
now I'm sorry, but I want to say one more thing about Toronto.
Sure.
What's going to be? I'm going to watch DeMarre Carroll to see, is he going to continue to have that hunger after he's gotten paid? And because if he comes in and he has that same passion that he played with the Hawks, they may be ready to take the step out of the first round. But I think he's going to be key, not to get complacent because he's got paid.
Right.
If he continues to be hungry, they probably can get out of the first round. But I think he's going to be key.
Yeah, he's definitely key because that defense, the defensive effort that on the defensive side of the ball, that's where they're going to need him because. You have DeRozan, who's a scorer. You know what I mean? You have Lowry. He's a pit bull at the point guard position, but, you need that wing defender, and that's what Carroll's, he brought that to the Hawks, and like you say, I hope he brings that to Toronto because they have size. You know, they have a nice home court advantage and nice shooting. So,
and they got
you want to throw in there, Rod?
I just want to say, watch for the mid-season trade of Terrence Ross. I think he's out of there. Because I believe DeMar Carroll, they brought him in for that reason because I don't think they really believe in Ross. And they've been trying to embed him in the team, but he just won't. You know, he keeps teasing you. He'll have a good game and then you don't hear from him for a while. And you know, he's very up and down and sporadic, but he has a name for himself. He's good trade bait. So I think they're gonna move him by mid-season.
Okay.
All right. Well, I made note of that, and we'll definitely see. Central Division.
Oh, that's obvious.
So we're going to go ahead and start with Wasey on this one because we already know. You know, and I think we all going to agree to this one, but is there a formidable challenger to the Cavaliers in this division?
Yeah, I almost think you ought to just say, okay, Cavs, okay, who next?
Well, okay, you know, I think we can all agree that it's going to be Cleveland in the Central, but as usual, and, you know, I know they got Hoiberg in coaching. Chicago, they're going to take a step back. But whenever they see Cleveland, it's going to be the Chicago that we always see. You know, they're going to give effort, you know, because it's bad blood there, you know. So, and they have the personnel. It's just, you know, they just got to get it back clicking. And I mean, I don't know if Hoiberg's the guy, but I know with guys like Noah, Gibson, and you know, obviously got Jimmy Butler, D Rose. They're gonna compete, and I think you have to keep an eye on Chicago. Cleveland's gonna win the division, but you know, obviously Chicago is gonna be the one that challenges them. You know, I don't think they can beat them, you know, but I think they can knock them around and win a game or two here or there. But you know, Chicago's gonna compete.
Well, I'm just gonna say this about the Central Division. Other than Cleveland, I'm just gonna say, fear the deer. I think Milwaukee coming. And Chicago, they might. We'll see. Will Milwaukee surpass them? But yeah, I agree with Wasey, man. Chicago will take a step back, but Milwaukee taking a step forward, and it depends on how far Chicago stepped back and how much Milwaukee stepped forward, whether or not. You know, but I would not be surprised if Milwaukee is knocking on the door for that number 2 spot in the Central Division.
Yeah, and that's an intriguing team right there. The Bucks, they have size all the way across the board. They may not have like a true big. I mean, I know they brought in Monroe, who's kind of like a 4-man that plays 5, but you know, outside of him, I mean, they're looking at like guys that are like 6'6", to 6'9" across the board. And Jason Kidd, one of my favorite players as well during his day. But he's an excellent coach, and he's going to get the best out of those guys. Jabari Parker is going to be back, and you know, it's looking like he's going to be fine, healthy enough to do damage like he was doing before he got injured. So yeah, fear the deer, as Rod said. Another team, just keep an eye on this team. And I know I've said it time and time again, but just keep an eye on Detroit. I like the Stanley Johnson draft pick.
Oh, Stanley Johnson. That's the rookie of the year, by the way.
He's tough. That's a tough dude. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like this guy here. He looks like he's a veteran. He looks like he's already played 2-3 years in the league.
Exactly.
The moves he make are so mature. But to me, that's the rookie of the year. I think Okafor gonna come in second, but I think that's the rookie of the year.
Wow. All right, heard it here first. All right, okay. But yeah, let's keep out. Just keep out on Detroit just a little bit, because also don't forget about Drummond. You know, big man in the middle there. So they had some things rolling, you know, for a little while last year. But and let's see if they make it interesting.
The thing that can hold them back, though, and you know, me and Rod, we're constantly at it about this. if Reggie Jackson can get over the Russell Westbrook syndrome, they may be okay. But if he still has that Russell Westbrook syndrome, we won't have to keep an eye on him.
Well, I don't have a problem with Westbrook having the Westbrook syndrome because Westbrook has the physical attributes to play that way. Unfortunately, Reggie Jackson ain't in Westbrook's body. So, yeah, it don't look good when he do it.
Right. So that's my take on Detroit. Now, like you say, Mr. 411, they have a lot of talent, man. But, that Reggie Jackson, he's a great player, man, but he has to be more team-oriented. He can score, obviously, but sometimes he's too, he's a scorer first, but with the rest of the talent that they have around him, he has to be a little more team-oriented. If he does that, you're right. They can be dangerous.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that point guard position in Detroit then. And just to throw out another name in that division, Paul George, we welcome him back, after being out with that leg injury. I know he, has been itching to get back out there, so it looks like he's ready to go. I mean, just looking at him in the preseason. But we'll move on to the Southwest Division.
Okay.
The Spurs, the Pelicans, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, man. All those teams. Did all those teams make the playoffs last year?
I mean, that's to me. I think that's the strongest division in the league right there. I mean, you just look at. I think all those teams are going to be playoff teams.
Wow. All right.
A strong division. For me, on the Southwest, like you said, I know San Antonio, like Rod was saying earlier with Miami, they paced themselves, but I looked at, they were not necessarily happy for Chris Paul per se, because obviously he put him out. But I seen a look in their eyes walking off that court when they were eliminated by the Clippers last year.
Yeah.
I think the Spurs out to prove a point. I think, they're going to pace themselves. Pop's going to rest guys, but, the system that he has in place, with the guys that he brought in, obviously now you can rest the Duncan and throw in a David West or, Aldridge and West in that front line. So, when they take a rest, and this year I don't think they'll take, a step back, like they have in past years when you rest guys. And I just feel like those guys are hungry. They want to win. And then San Antonio, they have something to prove, being eliminated by the Clippers in the first round. So I think keep an eye on them. They're going to be mad.
Okay. Who do you have winning the division?
I have San Antonio winning that division.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, winning the division.
Wait.
Right.
And I want to correct what I said. Everybody in that division gonna make the playoffs, but Dallas. Dallas ain't making the playoffs. But I'm gonna say this though. As far as who I think is gonna win it,
yeah,
I think the Spurs gonna pace themselves, and I think Houston's gonna win that division.
Wow.
Because I think the Ty Lawson pickup is the most underrated pickup in basketball this year. Because what people don't understand, man, with James Harden, which is why I felt like he really was the MVP, he did everything. He brought the ball up the floor. He set up the offense. He scored. He did everything for that team. Having Ty Lawson there frees this guy up. Like, his energy level is going to be up so much higher, and he won't be just wearing down like that. I think that that, to me, is one of the most scariest backcourts it is, because it's just a 1-2 punch. I mean, you got a guy in Harden who can go out there and he can drop 40 on you, and if you decide to double team him, there's nothing for Ty Lawson to give you 20. So, that's a really scary team, and like I say, I mean, very much like the Southeast Division, I'm picking Houston, but if San Antonio was to meet them in the playoffs, I believe San Antonio would take the series. But as far as the regular season go, I think Houston's gonna take it.
Man, this is tough, man. You talking about? I'm gonna list you some teams, and these teams can actually win the whole thing. The Rockets, the Spurs, the Grizzlies. There's 3 teams in that division that could win it all. And, you know, and yes, I did say the Grizzlies because they're a veteran team. They have front line. I mean, they have their point guard back this year, and they've been through it too. You know what I mean? There's something about having to, you know, have these first round departures or having or losing in the conference finals. I mean, they've done it all. I mean, they've lost game 7s in round 1. I mean, whatever happened in the playoffs, they've been through it. And so they have 3 teams that could win it all just in that one division. I'm going to go with the Rockets, though, because I was screaming for Ty Lawson to get there, man, early in the year, because it was like, as you were saying earlier, Rod, like, man, Harden, he's just expending himself on a nightly basis. I mean, I had him on my fantasy basketball team last year, so I was watching him every night, man, and you could just see it. Like, they ran pick and roll with him, you know, initiating that pick and roll all day, all game long. By the fourth quarter, this guy spent, and there's no better example of that than in the Western Conference Finals, the first 2 games against Golden State. I mean, you can see it there. I mean, he was on a roll. I mean, but there was nothing that Golden State could do with him, but it came down to those last plays late in the game. He's handling the ball, and he's not in a position where he could finish at that point. Now they're keying on him. So, you know, Lawson's going to open that up, and he can hurt you if you lay off of him. And another key to the Rockets is Dwight Howard. He missed a lot of ball last year. If he stays healthy and play all season, watch out for the Rockets. It's possible that they could finish with a 1 seed in the West next year. It's possible.
Well, I want to say this too, man. I just, you know, piggyback what you said about Dwight Howard. Ty Lawson does wonders for him too, because Ty Lawson's going to get him easy buckets. And so, you know, the Dwight Howard already, you know, shoots at a, you know, crazy percentage as far as, I mean, most of them are dunks, but now you got another legit playmaker out there whose sole job is to keep the offense rolling. And so, you know, you know, I know they call it Clutch City down there, but it's about to be Lob City too. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, hey, don't forget about Terrence Jones. Don't forget about Terrence Jones too. You know, they got another versatile power forward, and then they drafted the kid out of Wisconsin. You know, he's going to add depth.
Decker.
Yeah, Decker. Yeah. You can expound on that, but he's going to add depth to their bench as well. There's something you want to throw in there, Wasey?
Yeah, y'all dead on with Houston. I think the addition of Ty Lawson is definitely going to help them. It's going to give them, you know, it's going to add depth to their bench. You know, Patrick Beverly, now you can move him into his, you know, bench role, and he's great backup. I always thought he was up in over his head as a starter. You know, he's obviously he's going to make it because he's a defensive-minded, tough guy. But like you say, with the addition of Lawson, you know, it's going to add depth. But Sam Decker, he's been looking impressive. And he could turn out to be a steal if you want to keep an eye on that.
Absolutely.
You know, he seems like Chandler Parsons with a little bit more athleticism. So,
right.
You know, I think that he definitely he's going to help him. But you know, like y'all say, y'all have Houston, I have San Antonio to win it, and I think they're gonna be big mad, man, for being eliminated in the first round. So that's just me. But you know, great points on Houston though.
Oh yeah. No doubt. I mean, this thing can go any direction. I just want to throw something else out there since we was able to breeze through the Central Division real fast. Staying with this tough Southwest Division, it's going back to the Grizzlies. Do you guys think they have enough offense?
I still think they need another guy to really get over that hump, because what's going to happen, they're going to run into one of these buzzsaw teams. And the buzzsaw teams, I call them, you know, Oklahoma City or Golden State, where you've done everything right. But they go on a 2-3 minute stretch and blow the game open, and Memphis just can't catch up. They have to play perfect against those teams. And so I think you need somebody that's explosive enough to put enough points on the board to keep you in those series. You know, I think that's going to be their problem.
What about you, Wasey?
Yeah, I'm pretty much, just to piggyback on that. No, I don't think they have enough offense. You seen it last year in the playoffs. I think it was Golden State. They pretty much, it was daring, like it was like 4-on-5 out there. They wouldn't even guard Tony Allen. And with the addition of Matt Barnes, it's gonna help the Grizzlies, but he's still not an offensive guy.
Yeah.
I don't think they have. Now they're going to be a tough team because, like you said, they have a system in place. They're veteran guys. They have most of their core group back. They'll be tough. They'll be a tough out, but I don't think they have enough offense yet to take that next step. That's just me. Matt Barnes, he's not gonna get it.
Yeah. Barnes is a little erratic, but he's a dog on that defensive end, along with Tony Allen. And I know Tony had mentioned in one of his training camp games sessions that he wants to get back with Golden State for them, put the Bogut on them. And then he did finally admit that he was injured even before that series. So there's no room for excuses, but they do need Jeff Green, in my opinion, to be that guy. They need Jeff Green to be that guy to bring the offense. So We'll keep an eye on that and see what Vince Carter can do off the bench as well.
Oh yeah.
So let's slide over to the Northwest Division.
Okay.
You're looking at what teams like OKC, Utah, Portland.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much.
Who all you have coming out?
The Northwest Division is basically like the Central Division out east. I mean, it's obvious that's Oklahoma City. Denver is taking a step back. I'm not even gonna say taking a step back because Moutier, that boy can play. So I'm not gonna say he took a dramatic step back with losing Lawson, but I think he's still gonna be on the outside looking in. Portland's done. They they pretty much out the picture. Minnesota's gonna be fun to watch with all the young guys and Wiggins and all those guys there. Of course, the rookie, but in Utah, they're gonna be another team that's kind of fighting for that AC, but yeah, Oklahoma City is the cream of the crop in that division.
I agree.
Yeah, man. For me, yeah, it's OKC. But I want to say something about OKC though. I think that they're going to win the division for lack of just competitiveness. It's just it's just a weak division. They're going to win the division, but I believe that their mental psyche is going to be a little nip and tuck the whole year because I don't feel like Durant is all the way on board with the Billy Donovan move. Obviously, with him and Steven, they have going on with the Lakers ordeal, with the impending free agency coming. I think they're going to be good just because they're talented. I don't know if they'll do much in the playoffs because I think they'll have a lot of distractions. They're not going away. Those distractions aren't going away. And it just seemed to me that when management made the decision to fire Scott Brooks, it's almost like they did it without getting with Durant or Westbrook, for that matter. And I don't think that sat well with Durant. And it just seems like he's gonna go through the motions to just to get the season over with, to get into free agency. Because I heard a quote that he said last year. Anybody that doesn't test free agency, he feels like every player should take advantage of like those player options and all of that stuff. So he's going to test the market. I believe he's going to leave OKC. Like you said, they're going to win based on lack of competitiveness in the division and the talent that they have. But I don't think they do much in the playoffs. I don't think they do much because of distraction just going on. That's just me now.
Yeah, and I mean to piggyback on what you're saying about Durant, I mean, I think that he's, going along with the coaching hire, but they didn't consult him, and really, I don't think they upgraded. I don't see Billy Donovan is any better than Scott, and so I don't know. I didn't like that pickup as a coach, and I think they're gonna pretty much be in the same boat. They're gonna be a fun team to watch. They're gonna get your hopes up, and it's probably gonna be a hard fought second round exit. So so we'll see.
All right. I have OKC winning this division. That's pretty obvious. I like to keep an eye on Utah, and I'm sure we'll touch on that in a little bit with our playoff predictions. But they have a nice young nucleus of players, and I think they're well coached, and they have a system that's in place. And I would love to see them at least make a run at it. But yeah, this division, man, it's all about OKC, and it's all about seeing how far they can go, which is what we'll get into after we, cover a couple of topics here. But moving to the specific division. The specific division, you have Golden State, Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix Suns, Sacramento Kings. What are your predictions for this division, fellas?
Want to jump in there?
Yeah, I mean, that division that's obviously going to that's Clippers. Well, and I'm sorry for saying obvious. I don't want to be dismissive of Golden State, but I think the Clippers have really. It's just funny how just simple things can change your whole outlook. I mean, at first they was like, oh man, the Clippers they go to Clippers are cursed. When DeAndre Jordan was talking about leaving, but then they get DeAndre back and then they just load up. And it's a very deep team, man, and I think the missing piece is Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is going to have he's another guy that believes I can win another championship. I believe I can win, and I'm going to get you guys believing that you can win. Unfortunately, as me and Wasey both agree on, when it gets down to it, if they do end up in the playoffs and it's a tight game, I think their problem's going to be free throws. But they have everything else. I mean, they have two of everything, and so I just really like that team.
All right.
Okay.
Wait.
All right. For me, I'm gonna jump in here in the Pacific, man. Clippers. They're intriguing, man. But I'm going with the champs, man. I'm going with Golden State, man. I think Golden State feels disrespected by some of the stuff being said in the media, and even last year they got lucky because they dodged so and so and this and that, and the Clippers are we would have beat them and all of this stuff, and we would have played. I think Golden State feels disrespected. Are those things true? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm going with the champs. As long as they're coming back with pretty much the same core group, nobody's beat them. And until somebody beat them, I'm going with the champs. And like you said, I like the team that they have. They have, they're a scoring machine. Like Ross said, you can be doing everything right. And, a bus all hit you. They can go on a run within 2 minutes and, bust the game open. So, when you have a group like that that's championship tested, battle tested, Steve Kerr, obviously, championship DNA, I'm going with the champs, man, because they're the champs, and I think they feel disrespected coming into the season. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. So I'm going to go with Golden State in the Pacific, man.
Okay. I got the Clippers, and the reason why I have the Clippers win this division is DeAndre Jordan's back. And I mean, just watching them play the Spurs last year. I mean, that first round, in my opinion, that was like a Western Conference Finals, and that's no disrespect to Houston versus Golden State, but that first round, man, that was something serious, man. Talking about execution, big players coming through on both teams. You had to execute every game in order to win, and I think that game was played on a high level, and the Clippers have gained more experience by by beating the Spurs like that. And losing to the Rockets was a huge disappointment, but it's also a motivational factor that says, hey, you can't let down at all. I mean, that collapse they had in Game 6, that pretty much did it. I mean, they was on their way last year. And I think the heartache from last year and, with the additions of Pierce with the experience, but also Lance Stevenson. I mean, Lance Stevenson's a versatile player. I mean, he might have been forgotten about a little bit because he was playing in Charlotte last year. But if you just go back a year before that in Indiana, I mean, he was giving LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, a run for their money with his versatility. So I think him going there as well is going to help. And Doc Rivers' son as a backup, I mean, he's going to be able to spell Chris Paul, and he gained confidence there. I mean, they have shooters. I mean, the Clippers have everything. We haven't even mentioned Blake Griffin yet on that front line.
Everything's forming, and ways we talked about this as well. I'm one of these guys. I'm just not a Lance Stevenson fan, but I feel like if he had to land somewhere, he had to be on a team with somebody like Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Because Paul Pierce would keep him in check. But so I think, a possible negative is going to end up being a positive because of Paul Pierce's presence. Honestly, Paul Pierce is the reason why I feel the way I feel about this team. I feel like he changes that locker room. When I look at what he did for Washington, and just had those guys believing that they can win. Like they actually, we talked about it. They really believed that they could win a championship the way they were playing. And they weren't nearly as talented as this team. And this team is very talented. I mean, and like I said, I mean, if DeAndre Jordan could get his free throw percentage up, 10%, they could very well win the whole thing. But I mean, and picking up Cole Aldrich as a backup center, I mean, they're probably going to have to learn how to play with him down the stretch. I'll reserve judgment on that. I mean, if I could see mid-season, if he can finish games, that gives you another option in the playoffs when DeAndre Jordan is not hitting his free throws to go and you still have a center. That's going to be important. But I mean, and then too, like, with the Clippers, they in the past they never got anything from the wing. I mean, like defensively or offensively, and they finally. I think Wesley Johnson was a good pickup. On the wing, and Paul Pierce, obviously is a good pickup. I don't think Paul Pierce is going to play that much, but when you need a bucket, he still can hit that shot. So,
and the beauty of that is they don't need Pierce to play that much. That's why
they don't.
That's why Lance Stevenson is key because throughout the season, I mean, Pierce will be on a minute restriction, so. He's not really needed unless they're playing, the Spurs or something on a Thursday night or, throughout the year. But he's for the playoffs. He's to keep the boat together along with Chris Paul, with the leadership.
Well, for me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Wes. We'll get on some other teams in that division after your comments.
Yeah. For me, with the Lance Stevenson thing, like I said, Rod hit on it, and he touched on it. But I don't think there's minutes for Lance Stevenson because nobody's mentioned Jamal Crawford. I think somebody has to go. And maybe Crawford. I know he was mentioned in trade talks, during the summer. I don't know who it is, but as long as he's there, I don't think it's many minutes for Lance Stevenson, and that can cause a rift because he's a guy that feels he has an ego. He feels like he needs to be on the floor, so. I think Redick's going to get the start. I think Crawford is going to be the backup to Redick. And, whenever Crawford's not in, I think Pierce is going to get those spot minutes. Right now I don't see minutes for Lance. And obviously I think Austin's going to be the backup point guard. So watch out for Lance Stevenson. Go ahead.
I'm real glad you brought up that because the comment that Lance Stevenson made about they didn't treat me like a star in Charlotte. And I'm like, well, who told you was a star? I mean, and I think that's going to be, like you said, that is going to be key. That's probably going to be a problem. But I get the impression that they're gonna play Crawford early on to show that he still can play, but I see Crawford as trade bait at this point in his career.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. White.
All right.
Go ahead, jump in. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what are your guys' thoughts? I know we touched. You mentioned Golden State is winning the division, Wasey, and I just want to make sure I give some credit there. Now they were one of the best teams in point differential last year. Matter of fact, I think they were the best team. They're going to put points on the board. They're going to dictate pace. They're hard to defend. So we can't overlook Golden State. But also in this division, the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings. Do you think these two teams can make a run at it?
Let me jump in on Sacramento.
Go ahead.
I don't know about the Lakers. I'm gonna hold off on the Lakers, but Sacramento, Rajon Rondo, if he, that's a big if. This guy is he gives coaches fits, man. But if he just come in and play, they have the personnel to take the next step. Obviously with Rudy Gay and Cousins. George Karl, he's not necessarily a player's coach, kind of old school guy, my way or the highway type. If him and Rondo can work those wrinkles out, because I know they're gonna clash obviously, but Sacramento, you keep an eye on them. I think that they can be a sleeper team out west. You have to, in that division too. You have to watch them. Sacramento, they're intriguing to me. I'm gonna be watching them.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be my NBA League Pass team, as well as staying up watching my Lakers. But they have some pieces over there, and looks like the owner over there is trying to spend a little money, and they're trying to get a good team in place so they can get that new arena.
Right.
Get that new arena going.
I mean, with Sacramento, I'm with y'all. I mean, it can either go way up or way south, man. I mean, because of the volatile personalities. I mean, you got George Karl that don't like Cousins, and Cousins don't like him, and Rondo beefing, and I mean, you got two players that will cuss you out in a minute, and a coach that don't back down, and and so it can get real dicey with Sacramento. But like you say, I mean, the talent is there. But the other team I'm gonna talk about is obviously my Lakers, man. Really, all I want to see is improvement, and I'm realistic about it. I don't think we're making the playoffs, but really, I'm looking at from a standpoint. I want to see improvement from the young players, the core. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Julius Randle. I'm seeing some great flashes from him. I mean, I've made no apologies about it. Not a fan of D'Angelo Russell. I think he's soft, I hear about his cerebral game, and he's a great passer and this, that, and the other. But man, I got to see some aggression, and I mean, I can't help but notice that the team plays better when he's not on the floor. I'm concerned about that, but even still, he's a Laker, so I'm rooting for him to do better. I like the Roy Hibbert pickup now that I'm seeing him in the game. He definitely gives us a defensive anchor. So we're not just laughable on as far as defense goes. And obviously Jordan Clarkson. I'm just gonna be honest. That's his team now. It's just Kobe don't know it yet, but right now Jordan Clarkson is the best player on that team right now. As far as playing and health wise and just consistency. Kobe's still, the master, his skill set or what have you, man. But just at this point right now, man, Jordan Clarkson, that's the guy I want the ball in his hands right now. So that's how I feel about the Lakers.
All right. Well, I mean, originally I had, my doubts. First of all, during the season, during the college season, I was like, once the Lakers ended up with the 2 pick, I was like, wow, Okafor. That's who it's going to be. It's going to be Okafor, slam dunk, because obviously Towns was going to Minnesota at that point. And then they picked Westbrook. And so I'm like, well, what's going on? Why? What's going on with this move? And so, I'm trusting that the people in charge, saw enough of both players. And I understand what they're doing. It looks like they're trying to match up with what's going on out west as far as you need that perimeter guard. Now, could you get it somewhere else? Maybe, maybe not. So the jury's out on that.
They could have had Rondo. That's the irony of it. They could have had Rondo or someone like that. Me and Wace, we've had this debate several times, and I'm of the notion of this. It's just like the housing market, man. The reason why the houses by the water cost the most because you don't have that many of them. There's not that many big men. So when you can get a quality big man, you get him because guards come a dime a dozen. And on top of that, I don't even think he's the best guard in the draft. I think that Moutier is better than him. So I feel like not only did you not take the big man, which is so rare, you didn't even get the best guard. So I just, I'm like I say, I'm pulling for him because he's a Laker, but the writing's kind of on the wall with me with him. I mean, hey, hopefully he'll turn out to be a decent point guard, but I just don't see the fire. I don't see the fire.
Well, that's why they have to line up and play, and we will see. We will see. I have been looking at both of them, and Okafor has been pretty consistent with his play. They're obviously going to have a certain pace of play, to go through Okafor, but we're going to see. I think both of them are going to be excellent rookies this year. I think, matter of fact, I think there's a lot of good rookies this year. So with that said, that transitions us into our next topic, this year's draft class. So, we touched on Okafor, we touched on Westbrook. Are there any other rookies? And we also touched on Decker and Stanley Johnson. But are there any other rookies that you all want to, bring forth?
Once again, like I say, Moutier. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. Ironically, Towns has been pretty quiet, as far as the rookies go, but I don't think he's going to be a bust or anything like that. He's just, he hasn't really, shocked the world with his play yet, but in watching the games, you can see that he knows what he's doing out there. He doesn't look lost, and he is affecting the game, even if it's not just a bunch of numbers in the box score. But as I said, man, that rookie up in Detroit, Stanley Johnson, that's the rookie of the year, man.
All right, Stanley Johnson. How about you?
For me, obviously, like you say, those names we hit on, they're gonna. I think they're gonna produce. But the guy that's intriguing to me is the big kid out of Texas. I think it's Jones, who Indiana picked. There's gonna be chance for him to get valuable minutes up there because their front line is, I think it's Jordan Hill and Solomon Hill. I think that. Yeah, I think the Jones kid. Yeah, so I think the Jones kid, he has soft touch around the basket. He obviously has nice size. So I think you might want to keep an eye on him. He could be the sleeper because, like I said, I think that there's going to be a chance for him to get valuable minutes there. And obviously he got nice size, and he can hit the 14, 15-foot jumper. I've seen a quote from Larry Bird say he was the best shooter on the team. I don't know about that, but I think he'll be a sleeper though. You might want to watch him. He went to Texas, and so you might want to watch out for him.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, man. And I want to say this too, man. He's technically not a rookie, but this is his rookie year. I just want to give a shout out to Julius Randle, man.
Yes, sir.
I think that, you know, and I hear Kawhi laughing over there, man. But
Hey, man.
but you know, but see, Wade's a teacher, so he goes to bed early, so he doesn't watch the late show like you know I do. And so I'm seeing a young fella, man. He's playing good ball, man.
You know, watching Randall, and Kobe even said it himself, and I was thinking the same thing. He reminds me of like a combination of Lamar Odom. You know what I'm saying? Lamar Odom.
And a big body.
And a big body, yeah. I mean, he's like a bulldozer, and he can handle the ball. I mean, and he's finishing around the rim, and he's strong, man. He's strong as an ox, man. I mean, Calipari knows how to recruit, man. Like, I mean, obviously he coached in the NBA at one time, but, I mean, he's recruiting some super talent, man. But Randall reminds me of Odom without the vision and things like, you know, that Odom had. But, I mean, just to be a lefty, can handle the ball, can take it coast to coast, and got a big body. You know, just kind of picture like an Anthony Mason, you know.
Yeah, that's
Lamar,
the guy.
Yeah,
that's
kind of like a Mason, but a quicker, more athletic, you know, Anthony Mason. You know, so if he's anything like that, I mean, it's a pick. It was a pick, a well-made pick by the Lakers.
Let me jump in here on Randall for a minute, and I like Randall. I like Randall, but I'm gonna pump my brakes on him, and I'm gonna hold off. I've been a little stuff here and there about him, and I know he's been doing pretty good in the preseason. You know, Kobe, you know, he's got everybody pretty excited. But for me, the what I have to see from him is a jump shot. You know, a consistent jump shot, because me personally, I think he's a little undersized to be a power forward. That's just me, my opinion. And I think once that season, as far as height go, not mass, because you know he's a big guy. As far as height, he looks a little undersized to me. But when that season starts and those games start to become meaningful, I think teams are going to clamp down and they're going to be studying film, and I think they're going to force him. I think they're going to force him to shoot the ball. And if he can hit, like Roy said, if he develops a jump shot, he may be dangerous. But right now, I don't think he's quite ready. He's going to be good. You know, he's going to be decent. He's going to show flashes. But the lack of that jump shot is what's going to hold him back when it matters, in my opinion.
You know what? As a Laker fan, I hope you're right, because and I hope he sees that early. I hope they do clamp down. I hope they do take away the lane. I hope he get embarrassed this year, because those are the type things that'll make you go this summer and come back with a jumper. I mean, it happened to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant really wasn't that good of a shooter for his first 2 years, but when he realized, okay, y'all just not gonna let me go to the basket, he came back with a jumper, and so I actually hope that happened for him.
Yeah, and mentioning Kobe Bryant, but mentioning Kobe Bryant is the key. That's why this is the role that Bryant will need to take at this point in his career. It's time to pass the torch. So he needs to start. You know, he needs to drill into these guys, and they need to look at Kobe's work ethic and say, hey, okay, this man's over here working on his J. You know what I'm saying? 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I need to be out here working on my game to change my game up. Because you remember, Kobe, not only was he not a good shooter, you know, he wasn't even a post player, but he went and learned, you know, worked on his post game too at some point too. So, you know, Randall, I agree with that. You know, that's the part of his game that a lot of young players gonna have to learn, especially playing in the NBA level, where you're gonna have to make that shot. You know what I'm saying? Got to.
Right. And yeah, the reason I stress that undersized thing a little bit on Randall, obviously he had a great college career, but it was 2 games in particular that I watched from start to finish. They played LSU. I don't know the 2 guys that they had at the 4 and 5 for LSU, but they gave Randall fits. They were legit 6'9", 6'10" guys. And I mean, I think Randall hit the game winner in one of them, and he ended up with 5, maybe 7 points, but the entire game, it's like he was trying to bulldog his way to the hole, and every time they were blocking him, and they were just giving him trouble because basically he was shorter. And I haven't seen enough of that jump shot yet, and I feel like he's going to revert to that, try to play bully ball, and I think those guys are going to be too big for him, man. Like you say, he may work on it, he may not. But for me right now, I'm going to hold off on him because I don't see that consistent jump shot. That's just me now.
Cool. Well, I'm going to name a rookie that I'm going to keep my eye on, and it's Bobby Portis, and he's in Chicago. The SEC Player of the Year. The SEC Player of the Year, man, 6'9", versatile. I mean, he fits the mold of the type of power forwards that are in the game now. And, I mean, he gets to sit behind Pau Gasol, Noah. He gets absorbed with these guys. And then, he's on a playoff team, a team that can go on a deep run. So he's going to learn along the way to go along with all that talent. I'm not sure why he fell so far. Maybe it's because, people were shying away from his height or something like that, but maybe they thought he was a little taller. But this guy, man, he could play. I mean, he literally carried Arkansas on his back. And to be the SEC Player of the Year, and I know it's not a power basketball conference, but, to be the whenever you're the conference Player of the Year in a D1 conference, you got to have some game. In Chicago, I think they got away with one here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got a solid pick. So that's a rookie I would say, keep an eye on as well. Wasey, you brought up a point, in our production meeting. And, before we get out of the West here, Kobe Bryant ranked number 93, according to some experts. Why do you think he's rated so low? Because I really think that's not an accurate number.
Okay. That's Ron's guy. I respect Kobe. I don't agree with the 93rd ranking. I definitely don't think there are 93 guys better than Kobe. I think I understand the logic behind the ranking because if you look at it, this is my thinking. I think they're looking at the last 2 years, and really you can't really evaluate him because he's really not been out there, But at the same time, it's kind of contradictory, because like me and Ron talked about, they have rookies in their head of them, some rookies, and those guys haven't played NBA minutes. So I don't agree with it. I know he's not 93rd. I don't know where I put him per se, but let me see. I would give him top 20 somewhere in there, but definitely not 93. I disagree with that ranking. I disagree with it, but like I said, I think what they're doing is because we haven't seen enough of him with the last year and a half, just to be fair about it. I think that's the logic behind it. Last year he showed flashes, but I think he only played 13, 18 games, something like that. So that's my take on it. Maybe it's the lack of film on him the last 2 years. I don't know, but I can't understand 93.
Yeah.
Like basically what I don't like about the rating system that they have is it's strictly, just nerds. They ain't never played the game. They just punching in numbers and just looking at this and looking at that and disregarding all the other factors. How can you evaluate somebody that is either hurt or coming off a major injury and basically say that somebody's better than you? Like it may be, at the time they may be, I may want to have you for this moment over you because, you're hurt. But to say that they're better than you, that makes no sense to me. I mean, bottom line is, hey, you may get a high school, quarterback to come out, and because he's healthy, he can play. But even Peyton Manning hurt is going to be better than him. And so it makes no sense to me. And I just feel like it's just ESPN, throwing stuff out there for shock value and knowing that they're going to get a reaction, man. As far as where to rank him, I don't know where you rank him. I mean, like we have to see, but like I said before, and when people say, oh yeah, he should be around 93, and I say, okay, well you name me 20 guys that can go out there and average 20. And I believe Kobe can still average 20 when healthy. You give me 20 guys that can average 20, then hey, I'll shut up.
Well, I guess you're gonna be talking for a long time because I just don't see it. I thought it was absurd. I thought it was a joke, So, and a slap in the face. I mean, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be Kobe just because I'm a Kobe fan or a Laker fan. It's just, just watch the guy play. I mean, even just last season. I mean, the game in Atlanta. I mean, he looked like he was the best player on the floor that night. And Atlanta has a lot of talent on their team. So it's just kind of.
But that ranking system, it doesn't just disrespect Kobe. It disrespects a lot of players because right above him was Luol Deng, which obviously to me, I mean, Kobe's better than Luol Deng, but Luol Deng's better than some of these rookies. And once again, not to keep picking on, D'Angelo Russell because he's a Laker, but they had D'Angelo Russell ahead of Kobe. They had D'Angelo Russell ahead of Luol Deng. No.
Yeah.
That's laughable.
Yeah, he hasn't even played yet. So,
he hasn't played.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. But, it's interesting talk. And, were there any closing remarks for that?
Yeah, well, I not necessarily the ranking, but with Kobe, I'm going to keep an eye on him because, like Rod said earlier about something, it can go either really good or really south. I feel that way about Kobe because his mentality, man. He's not a, sit back and kind of let the game come to me type of guy. And I don't know if he'll get frustrated if he doesn't jump out the gate and and be as productive as he used to be. I don't know when he try to force the issue, man. And at his age, man, that could be dangerous, man. But superstar mentality and egos, man. It's kind of hard to tell those guys, like I think Paul Pierce said, Kobe's not going to take a backseat to those guys, and I think if he wants to extend his career, maybe, even for the season coming up, if he wants to make it to the end of the season, Kobe has to take a step back. If he doesn't, I don't believe he'll make an 82 game.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And the thing about it is, he can take a step back and still average 20 by just playing smart. Just playing smart because really, like I said, that's Jordan Clarkson's team. He's the best player on the team right now. As far as health-wise, consistency, he's the best player on that team. And if Kobe Bryant say, hey, the ball in your hand, I'm playing off you. Just hit me when I'm open. I'm gonna get open. Look for me. Kobe can do. He can play. He will be very efficient, and he will be able to guide the young fella, man.
For the first time in a long time, he's gonna have young talent that can run on the same roster. You know what I'm saying? When the Lakers were taking their lumps, finally started taking their lumps, against the OKCs and teams like that, it was the Lakers were caught in a stage where you had Kobe, but you had a lot of older, slower guys on the team as well. Now he's got guys on the team. Now they're not going to necessarily win every night, but he's got some guys that's going to run. Randall, Clarkson, Westbrook. I mean, you got some guys that's going to get up down the floor. And don't forget, Lou Williams is on that roster as well. So, and Swaggy P. So you got a lot of guys that's going to run the floor. So he's going to kind of be like, how I am in the gym sometimes. Like, I pick teams carefully. I look for the guys that can run up down the floor, and then I could just run around, spot up somewhere, or kick it out to them, let them push it. So, that's the stage he's at right now. And with his shooting ability, he'll be fine. He can average 17, easily. And last, if he chooses to play that way.
Right.
So let's keep an eye on that. Yeah. Let's keep an eye on that.
Sir.
We'll keep an eye on that this year.
And another thing to keep an eye on is, like I say, this is why, if you're going to draft a guard, They got to be tough, especially if Kobe Bryant on the team. Does D'Angelo Russell have the heart and the fortitude to like, no, Kobe, I'm not giving you the ball.
Ooh.
You the point guard. No, I'm not giving you the ball this play. I'm waving you out. No, we're not calling our ISO. Tonight, Randall got the advantage, or Clarkson got the advantage, or Hilbert got the advantage. Because Byron Scott has said he wants the ball in D'Angelo Russell's hand. He is the point guard. Okay, with that, you can't be scared of certain players on the floor.
Well, that's very interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. If it was Chris Paul, we already know the answer, but we'll see what the young fella can do. And speaking of Chris Paul, here's a question: has Chris Paul has he gotten a pass for and not been held accountable for the shortcomings of the Clippers? At this point, to where they haven't made it to the conference final, they haven't made it to the NBA finals yet. There's a lot of rumbling about that. It's Chris Paul's fault. Nobody bashes him enough. This kind of thing. What are you guys' thoughts on Chris Paul?
I want to take that one because that's one that's near and dear to my heart because I'm a Melo fan. I like Melo, and I feel like Melo gets dogged by the media for not getting his team over the hump. But when you go back and look at the history of it, Melo has been to a conference finals.
Yeah.
Chris Paul has never been to a conference finals. And then when you look at who's Melo played with, the one time he had a bona fide all-star that still had something left in the tank, which was Chauncey Billups, he went to the conference finals. Since then, you can honestly say that his second option was J.R. Smith. And you saw
in New York and in Denver.
Yeah, and you saw what happened to the greatest player on the planet right now in LeBron when J.R. Smith is your second option. You can bust your heart. You can go out there and drop 37, 19, and whatever LeBron had. LeBron had crazy numbers and lost because J.R. Smith's your second option now. And you can't depend on him. Versus Chris Paul, he's had Blake Griffin, he's had David West, he's had legit all-stars that in their prime or with something in the tank, something to offer and something to bring to the table, and he hasn't gotten out of the second round. And don't get me wrong, I love Chris Paul, but I feel like the media has their picks and chooses on who they're going to pick on. I feel like Melo gets picked on because of his persona that, hey, I'm a me first player versus Chris Paul. The media just, we're not going to talk about that because Chris Paul's in a State Farm commercial and he seems so well-spoken and he's such a nice guy. He's a cute little fella. So we're not going to talk about that. He can't get his team out of the second round. And this year, the best team he's ever had. If he doesn't get out of the second round this year, I don't know when are you going to ever call him out.
Lacey?
Well, okay, I'm kind of on the fence with this one because I lean more towards. Okay, let me just speak on the Carmelo criticism versus Chris Paul. I think that the media or just fans of the game in general, they give Carmelo a hard time because of his mentality. And what I mean by that, you take this last year before last when he was in free agency. He had a chance to put himself in several winning situations. And I don't think it was about winning. I think it was more on the being in New York, the big market. It was his wife. I don't think he put enough emphasis on picking a winning situation. And I think everybody noticed that because he had a chance to go to Chicago. He had a chance to go to Houston. He had a chance to really put himself in position to compete for championships. But I think he chose New York for reasons other than basketball. That's just my take on it. So I think that they give him a hard time because he doesn't show the winning mentality. Not to me. And I don't think to a lot of the media. And as far as Chris Paul goes, I think I'm kind of on the fence because I think that he made David West and Tyson Chandler. I think he made those guys formidable when he was out there in New Orleans with them. And even with the Clippers, before he got there, you know, I know Blake Griffin and all those guys were young, and some of them weren't even there, but the Clippers were a joke. I mean, let's just be honest about it. The Clippers were a joke. And the reason I'm on the fence is because when you're up 3-1, on the flip side, when you're up 3-1, you know, as a leader, you know, you have to close, you have to find a way to win one more game. Like you have to close that deal as a leader. Like, I know you can't get out there and 18 free throws missed by DeAndre Jordan. I know you can't do that. That's not your fault. But something within those, you got to find a way. And that's why I'm on the fence, because on one hand, you know, you can't blame the guy because he's not the guy that's like 10 for 28 from the free throw line. Like, that's unheard of, man. Like, you know, you can't blame the guy for that. You know, he can teach you how to pick and roll and go to a spot, and, you know, he can teach you, but he can't shoot the free throw for you. Same thing with Blake Griffin. He's better at free throws. I think he got up to around 65, maybe 70%. But in the playoffs, he misses a lot of free throws down the stretch, man. And I think that's going to be their problem again, even with everybody they added. And Josh Smith is going to help the free throw role. So, Chris Paul, I think I'm 50-50 with it. On one hand, he deserves some criticism, and on the other hand, he really doesn't. You know, so that's where I'm at.
And I just want to say this: I hear you with the free throws, but I also see that as an excuse, because I'm like, well, specifically this year. I'm talking about this year. If they don't win this year and they say, oh, they missed too many free throws, I still see that as an excuse, because I'm like, okay, if everybody made free throws, you're basically saying you got a perfect team.
No.
And
no. See,
well,
what I'm saying.
I think it's more the number of free throws that they're missing, though. I mean,
right. It's not alarming. Yeah, it's not.
I mean, the Spurs
like when you go
took Jordan out the game because
he
can't hit the back. He can't even hit the rim. You know.
Yeah, like that's not his fault. Like 10 for 28. That's crazy.
No. I get exactly what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, if you are, you know, a top 5 player, which some people feel like Chris Paul is, then the coach should feel comfortable with, okay, I'm taking DeAndre Jordan off the floor, win it for us. I've seen Kobe when Shaq is missing free throws, or when, you know, and I know, you know, Shaq, he might knock them down when they count or whatever. But I've seen stretches where Kobe, like, I'm just not giving you the ball, dude. Get out my way. I'm gonna take this game over fourth quarter because they're gonna foul you, and I'm gonna win this.
Even when the Lakers would take Shaq out, you know, you're replacing with Robert Horry, Hart Grant. You're replacing DeAndre Jordan potentially with Josh Smith. Like,
actually,
when you take
it's gonna be Cole Aldridge, who's I think he's a 80-some% free throw shooter this year. So there's no excuse.
But I don't believe he touches the floor in the playoff. But that's just me.
Well, hey, if he doesn't, and he decides to go with Josh Smith, who was a horrible free throw shooter, then maybe Doc Rivers not as great of a coach as we thought.
Well, I tell you what, man, I think that and I'm glad you mentioned Carmelo, but I think with this question here, and since we did bring up Melo, I think they both get a bad rap. I mean, Carmelo is a Hall of Famer. I mean, you know, he can't help that he came in the same draft as LeBron James. He's playing in the same era as LeBron James. It's kind of like a Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan. You know, like,
wow.
Dominique Wilkins didn't play. Did Dominique Wilkins make the Eastern Conference Finals? Did Dominique Wilkins play in the NBA Finals? I think the answer to that is no. So, but was Dominique a great player? I mean, if you look at now that we can see the end of his career, we find out that Dominique made the Hall of Fame with no problem, things like that. And I think Melo's in that same kind of boat. And I can't blame the man for taking $27 more million. You know, I know a lot of times, and LeBron's probably, in my opinion, the king of this, but, you know, stacking rosters and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with it. But, you know, it is something about a guy that says, hey, you know what, I'm going to stay here. And, you know, He promised me that we're going to try to work and build a winner here, and I'm going to be a part of that. I have no problem with that as well. I mean, I think Melo still has time to go to another team if things don't work out. But since this question was about CP3, I think that Paul has pretty much done, up to this point, he's done everything that you would want out of a point guard. I mean, the man is like, he has incredible vision. He sets everybody up. He runs the plays. He's tough. He plays defense. He's all NBA first team on the defensive side of the ball year in and year out, as well as one of the assist leaders. And he can also give you 19 to 20 points a game. And he rebounds for his size. And I think that, some of the issues, like as far as like taking over all the time, I mean, he's not 6'8". He's not 6'9". He's not that size of a guy. He's more of a guy that's going to set other people up. So he still is dependent on others to finish the plays that he's setting them up for. And, to touch on Chandler and David West and DeAndre Jordan, man, these guys should be like sending him letters every day thanking him, for those big contracts that they're getting. So I think that now if you want to fast forward to this season right here, because now Paul has everything. He's got veterans on the team. He's got versatility on offense and defense. He's got his front line. So now if he doesn't get it done this year, I think it would be, worth the criticism. That's just my take on that.
I want to say this too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, it just with me, see, I'm not gonna. The end all be all isn't gonna be the roster with me, because I got to actually watch the games. And if I actually watch the games and something kind of like, just to give you an example of how, watching the games determines what criticism, who deserves and what. Kind of like if he's done everything, like you say, he can possibly do, and someone else, like something happens out of his control, I can't criticize the guy. Like, Green Bay, like, for example, had Seattle beat, but they couldn't get an onside kick. Like, that's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. It was out of his control. If DeAndre Jordan or Blake Griffin or whomever it is, same guys, if they go to that free throw line in crunch time and miss free throws, it's not Chris Paul's fault, to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying. To the contrary, is that I've never heard anybody say, "Well, it's not Melo's fault." They blame Melo, and I'm okay.
I'm with you on that.
Like Melo had 40. Oh, but he had 40 points, but he didn't have no assists. I'm like, he's a scorer.
Right.
And so it's like, that's what drives me crazy. But I want to say this too, in reference, like, I hear what you're saying. Like, Chris Paul definitely put these guys on the map, and David West and Tyson Chandler, whatever. But I also say this: Tyson Chandler won a championship without Chris Paul. David West has been to a conference finals without Chris Paul. And
other good teams, though.
Yeah, on other good teams. But what I'm saying though is this: that these guys can play. It's not like they just scrubs and Chris Paul just made them look good. Like, they can play too. And so and in both cases, I value both of them more than I do J.R. Smith. So and like I say, that's just my whole thing with. I feel like Chris Paul is more likable. And I feel bad sometimes talking about this subject because I love Chris Paul. I'm a huge Chris Paul fan, but I feel like he gets a bit of a pass, because he's so likable. Almost like Durant. Like the pressure on Durant to win a championship is nowhere near the pressure it is on LeBron. And I'm like, okay, that's because we all like Durant. Durant just so likable.
I think that's going to change.
Yeah, I think
that's going to change.
I think really, and with all this is, my point with Chris Paul is, I think the criticism came too early because it's like if you look at it, even last year, he was playing shorthanded, even in this. But that series against the Spurs, he played at a level that I think a lot of people just don't appreciate. They have to go back and watch those games from start to finish and watch how he dissected them guys, except for maybe one game that he had a bad game on. And he pretty much, he destroyed the Spurs. Every kind of way, as far as setting up people, making his shot, floaters, drives. But at the same time, they go to hacking Jordan, that takes possessions away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
can't run anything.
Third quarter.
Yeah, they taking possessions away when they come before they even get past the division line. They fouling Jordan. Okay, you going to the line. There's no play to run right there. And they doing that until you have to take the man out of the game.
And that's what I'm saying though. Like part of being great though is having the ear of your coach. And I'm not worried about how people feel or whatever. Hey, take him out. Sit him down. If he can't make his free throws, he don't need to play. Coach. And it's just,
True.
Like that's part of being great.
But here's the catch-22. Who's going to defend the basket, in the middle now when this guy has to come out? And then you can't give him the ball because he don't have an offensive game. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
the only way he gets it is when Paul feeds him off the alley-oop.
Well, I want to bring up the guy that you said was your favorite player.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas was like, you know what? We just gonna have to match him bucket for bucket, and Zeke would have went out there and matched him bucket for bucket, and that's what I want to see from Chris Paul sometimes. You know what? I'm the best player on the floor. I can get my shot when I want. I'm gonna keep shooting, and they're gonna have to stop me. So fine, we can't lock you down, but we just gonna have to have a shootout because DeAndre Jordan would not hit his free throws. So you're gonna sit on the bench, buddy, until you show me that you're gonna knock down some free throws.
And I definitely appreciate that point, man. But they didn't hack Edwards. They didn't hack Lane Beard. Those guys could shoot it, So
exactly.
they were still able to help out on the defensive end of the floor. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't losing his big guys because they
no, he wasn't. But what I'm saying though, but he was going. Zeke was going out there dropping 40. He was, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like. Chris Paul, I seen Chris Paul do this. Chris Paul will slow down when he gets 25. He's like, okay, I got 25. I don't want to score too much. Like, no. Give him 50. Give them 50 tonight. And maybe because I'm a Kobe fan, Westbrook fan, but I'm like, yo, if you can keep scoring, keep scoring. Don't stop.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Pour it on.
But wait for you to throw something in there.
Yeah, let me throw something in Paul's defense about, I know, Rod, you keep saying sit the guy, and superstars and great guys do that. They have the ear of the coach. I think that was part of the problem in why Jordan left. Because I think Paul was challenging him about those free throws. And, because it was well documented that they didn't see eye to eye once Jordan left. And some things came out about what was going on behind the scenes. And I really think Chris Paul may have said something to that extent. If you can't hit the free throws or something, you don't need to play or challenge them about that, because that came up. So I think you're overlooking that. I think Paul did challenge him on that. But at the same time, he can't get up there and shoot him for him if Doc's going to leave him in the game.
Oh, no, you can't, man. Like I say, I agree. I agree with what y'all saying. It's things that are out of his control. And I just feel like, other players, they don't get to have that excuse. They just like, well, you should have won. And,
that happens.
And Chris Paul, it does. And with Chris Paul, my only knock on him has been I've seen his level of scoring aggression drop.
Right.
Because it's like he's like, oh, I don't want to just have my guy standing around. And I get it. He's a point guard. But at some point or another, you got to just wake up and realize I'm the best scorer on this team. And so I'm just going to get buckets. And let's just let the chips fall where they fall.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting heading into this season. They have to be one of the favorites and that's what we're about to get into in a minute here. So yeah, but good topic there, good discussion on that. Let's fast forward. Let's head into we talked about all the divisions, and since we did that, now we're at the point now with and we'll start with the Eastern Conference, okay? Last year, I'm just going to name two teams that they were in the playoffs, and they're likely not going to make it this year: Boston Celtics and Brooklyn Nets. Rod, what teams do you have in the playoffs, Eastern Conference this year?
Wow. Okay. Let me think about this and make sure I don't leave anybody out. All right. Number one, Cleveland. That's good. They're gonna have the number one seed. I'm gonna say followed behind them will be Chicago. 3, I got Miami. 4, I got Atlanta. I'm sorry. 3, I got Atlanta. 4, I got Miami.
Okay.
5, I'm gonna have to go with Washington at 5.
All right.
I'm going with Toronto at 6, Milwaukee at 7, and I got the Detroit Pistons at 8.
Wow. Okay. Detroit at 8. Wade, did you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll jump in here. Okay.
All right.
Okay, out east. And this is the order I have it right here. I have Cleveland at 1.
All right.
Okay, I have Miami at 2.
All right.
Okay. I have Toronto at 3.
Interesting. All right.
Okay, I have Atlanta at 4. Chicago at 5. I have Washington at 6. And Milwaukee at 7.
All right.
And at 8, man, I'm gonna go with the Knicks, man. I'm gonna go with the Knicks at 8.
Oh wow.
New York Knicks at 8.
All right.
And I felt real good about that pick about 2.5-3 weeks ago. And, with some of the things that have been going on lately, man, it's got me kind of on the back off. But I'm gonna stay on board. I'm going to New York at 8. Yeah, that's me. I'm going to New York at 8.
Okay. Well, I'll give you guys my 8 in the East. Cleveland number 1. Miami number 2, closely followed by Atlanta at number 3. Chicago at 4. Toronto at 5. Milwaukee at 6. Washington at 7. And Indiana at 8.
Wow. Okay.
And with Indiana at 8, I was waffling between them and Detroit. But I think Detroit, they have the better overall talent. But I just feel something about the return of Paul George and along with him and Monte Ellis playing together.
That is very intriguing.
Yeah, I think that's, it's not a clear cut, but I just feel like Indiana might edge them out just this year. And things are looking, in my opinion, looking real good for Detroit long term. Now, Rod, we'll go back to you. You had Detroit at number 8. So why did you select Detroit at 8?
I select Detroit at 8 because of basically what you said, man. They have the better overall talent. And I think that, cause I know how Stan Van Gundy is. It takes him a little while to get his system in, but toward the end of the season last year, you saw his system. They were running it. And I think with a good training camp and you've gotten rid of some people with some bad attitudes and you got some fresh faces in there that's buying in, I think they're going to take that next step.
All right. That would be interesting. I would love to see them in the first round. Looks like in your playoff bracket, it would be Cleveland, Detroit at at Cleveland first round. That would be interesting. Nice to see that front line going up against Cleveland's front line in the first round and bring back some of that, Detroit-Cleveland battles of the past. Wasey, you had, a couple of things I just noted. You had Toronto as the 3 seed and the Knicks at the 8 seed. So, you want to explain those two picks for me?
Okay, I'm gonna start with the Knicks. I like their draft picks. The Porzingis guy, he reminds me a lot of a Pau Gasol, and I think that he's gonna fit that system. It may take him first quarter, maybe even half of the season. But with the East being so weak, I don't think that'll be a problem as far as win losses because as we all know, a 38 win team can get in the East. But I didn't mention this guy, but the trade that they made on draft night to get the Grant kid out of Notre Dame, that kid can play, man. And me being an ACC guy, I watched him in depth, man. And he gave top tier guys program, North Carolina, Duke. He gave them fits. He gave Kentucky fits in the I think it was the Elite Eight, maybe. I think it was the Elite Eight. And he had Kentucky beat. I mean, it's hard to stay in front of him. He's quick. He can score. And obviously Melo, he's going to give you what he's going to give you. But I just think they put together, they brought in some pieces to kind of, start trying to get that system, that triangle to running again. And Porzingis, to me, I didn't mention him either, but he's an intriguing rookie, man. He has that Paul Gasol feel to him, and if he catches on early, they may be able to still 7 seed, if everybody buys in. But with the Derek Fisher thing, man, I'm a big believer in leadership starts from the top up, man. And when your coaches and stuff like that are not showing great leadership skills, man, that does something to your team. It just does. History tells you that. But I just like the draft picks, and I like some pieces that they brought in to kind of, I can see where they're going, So that's why I picked them at 8. And with Toronto, it goes back to the weak division, man. I think that their win total is going to be, it's going to be inflated because of the weak division. Obviously the East is weak. I know they got to go out west on those road trips, but I think their record, I put them at 3 over teams like Atlanta and Washington, ahead of those teams. I just think their record is going to be inflated. I can even see them getting eliminated early. If Washington or somebody like that falls to like a 6 seed or something, Toronto can lose in the first round. But I just think as far as regular season goes, as far as seeding goes, I think they have enough wins to be the number 3 seed. That's why I had them so high.
Okay. Well, yeah, and Toronto did go home the first round last year with, I think they had home court advantage as well. I think they did the first round last year and they went home, but that was just interesting there. So before we move to the West, who do we all have coming out of the East?
To the finals. That's easy, right? That Cleveland gonna be in the finals, man.
All right, so we all have Cleveland. Okay.
Oh yeah, Cleveland.
All right. Enough said there. Western Conference.
Oof.
This is tough.
Yeah, buddy. Okay.
1 through 8.
All right, I'm gonna attempt to get oh boy. Okay. Number 1, I got Houston, number 1 seed. I got Oklahoma City, 2.
All right.
I got Golden State, 3. I got the Spurs, 4. I got, I guess I got the Clippers, 5.
Wow. That's a tough division, man.
It's tough, man. It's real in the field, man. I got the Clippers, 5. And then I got Memphis 6.
Wow.
And at 7, I got New Orleans, and that 8 spot. It's a tough one.
Yep.
It's a real tough one. I got Phoenix 8.
Oh. All right, Phoenix. Okay.
Okay, that's interesting at 8.
Yeah. We'll be back to that one.
For me, I just go ahead and jump in. For me, I got San Antonio 1.
Wow. We'll be back to that one.
Golden State. Yeah, I got Golden State 2.
Okay.
I have OKC 3.
All right.
I have the Clippers. Okay.
You get dicey right there, boy.
Oh, boy, it gets dicey. Boy, it gets real dicey. Okay, I'm going to go Clippers at 4. Houston, 5. Memphis, 6. The Pelicans at 7. And I'm going Sacramento at 8.
Wow. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's tough out west, man.
This is going to be interesting here. All right. We all have a different team at 8. And I have Houston at 1. Clippers at 2. San Antonio at 3. Oklahoma City at 4. Golden State at 5. Memphis at 6. We all agreed with Memphis at 6. We all agree with New Orleans at 7. And at number 8, I have Utah.
Okay.
So we all have
This is the funny part about it. You really can't argue with nobody's list, though.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a crazy list.
Yeah, you can't argue with anybody's list, and no matter. And the funny part about it, at number 5 and 6, no matter what, I felt like I was disrespecting the team.
Yep.
When I said it, I felt like, dang, like the Clippers can't be this low, but
yep,
it is what it is.
And when I looked at Golden State, I was like, wow, 5? They just won the whole thing. I mean,
yeah.
but that 5, that could be a 56 win team at number 5.
Right.
So by seeding, it looks lower, but man, 56 win team and at number 5 is insane. But that's the level of talent out west, man. So let's go to Rod. Go back to Rod. You had Phoenix at 8. Why did you select Phoenix? The 8th slot.
I went with Phoenix. They picked up Tyson Chandler. I've always liked Eric Bledsoe. I call him Baby Westbrook, but they still got the good twin. They had to, lose the other twin, but they got the good one.
He's disgruntled, so.
Yeah, he is. But I think he'll get over when the season starts. I think they got one of the steals of the draft in Devin Booker. To me, he's like,
another
I
shooter.
think he's going to be I think he's going to be a Klay Thompson with more of a mean streak.
Yep.
And so, I really like him. I mean, still got Brandon Knight, another good guard. And, they are a up and down team. They're well coached. I think Hornacek is, really could have stole Coach of the Year if it wasn't for Atlanta just doing what they're doing. But I think Hornacek is really got a good system there. And so, and like I said, it can go either way out west. You got to pick somebody. And I'm like, man, why not Phoenix?
My goodness, yeah. That they was on the cusp last year, man.
Yeah,
Injuries.
they was knocking on the door.
Yeah, some key injuries to here and there, man, kind of slowed them down a little bit, man. They had Gerald Green out there. They were rolling, man, and they did trade Dragic to Miami, and I don't know if that slowed them down a little bit, as far as adjusting to that. But I mean, Brandon Knight is no slouch. He keeps getting dunked on, but he's still no slouch at the point guard.
He's solid. He's solid.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid guard. Wasey, what about Sacramento? At the 8 spot.
What I was alluding to earlier, man, it's just all about buying in, because I definitely think they have the talent. I think they have the personnel to take that step. But with them, it's gonna be all about, like that if we was talking about with Miami, that if they're healthy. With Sacramento, if they buy in, if Rondo doesn't clash with the coach, if Cousins doesn't clash with the coach, if everything is clicking, they have enough talent to be an 8th seed in the West. So and that's just pretty straightforward. That's why I picked them. And Rudy Gay is a guy that, he's kind of under the radar here lately, because of Cousins and addition of Rondo. But Rudy Gay is a guy that still can score, man. He still can put up numbers, and he's not no slouch on defense. So I think they have 3 guys there, along with the other components around them to be an 8th seed. It's just all about buying in, and
right.
It's just that simple with me in Sacramento. If they buy in, they make the playoffs.
And there it is. Man, I picked Utah.
I can see that, man.
Yeah, I can see it too. I was thinking about them as well. But I went with Utah, and I went with it because, I like their front line. I like the big French guy, was it Gorbet or something, how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the middle just swatting everything, and he doesn't have to necessarily score. Yeah, so it's kind of a Tyson Chandler-ish type of center, just even taller. And then, Derek Favors, man, he's been doing a lot of different type of training, like CrossFit and boxing and different things like that, getting tougher. And he's already had the game. And I think the fact that they moved Cancer to OKC, I think that's opening the door for Favors to have a solid year. And also Hayward. Man, Hayward's been bulking up, and he
on steroids or something, boy. He got big.
Yeah, I don't know what's gotten into him, but man, he's like, he looks like he's going to give people fits this year. And I just think that they might, squeak in there with, like a 40, win like 40, win 46, 48 games and get in there, on the back end. But man, between these 3 teams that you all just named, it can come down to the last night with these teams. And, hopefully, the Lakers can, at least be in the picture, that late in the season. But even being a Lakers fan, man, I couldn't pick them, for prediction's sake. But let's go ahead and see who's going to play Cleveland in the finals. Rod, so who do you have ultimately coming out of this Western Conference?
Well, I'm going with old man Riverwalk, Tim Duncan, the San Antonio Spurs. I think they're going to make it there again. And can I give my finals prediction?
You might as well now, yeah, because you have Spurs and Cavs.
Yeah, and I think the Spurs and Tim Duncan, I think they're going to ride off into the sunset, burning LeBron one more time on the way out.
Now, do you think Aldridge is going to be the difference in this particular matchup, and obviously the difference in the West?
Yes, I do. I know his rumblings. LaMarcus Aldridge isn't getting it, and this, that, and the other. But what I see what Pop's doing. Like he's played LaMarcus Aldridge several times without the rest of the guys on the floor. So he's learning the system without the people he's gonna play with. So basically, when he gets on the floor with the guys that know the system, it's gonna get so much easier for him. Right. And the Spurs are they it's a reason that they never win back to back. and basically they had a back-to-back season. Because honestly, I mean, like, if it wasn't for Ray Allen in that corner, they would have been back-to-back champions. So it was just such a run, took so much out of them. And, like what you said, I think they were just happy, like, okay, it's over. But I think they're going to be refreshed. They're going to be energized. And I think that LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be a guy that they can lean on to give you points in the post. And then, David West coming off the bench. I mean, you're talking David West, Tim Duncan, and LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, you can't come up with a better frontline trio. And then you still got, Kawhi Leonard locking everything down, Tony Parker, Ginobili. And I'm always, nervous when I used to, have to go up against the Spurs when they started just drafting these unknown guys. And looks like they did it again. I don't know who this guy is, but let me see if I can find his name real quick. But they always go find these guys, some foreign guy. I don't know who he is, and next thing you know, he's like killing. So and they got
right
one too. Yeah. He fit right in, and next thing you know, he line you up. So yeah, I just, I don't know. I'm not going against the Spurs, man.
Okay. Wasey, who you got playing the Cavs?
Okay, before I give you my pick, I want to throw a name out there for the Spurs. Kind of under the radar move. Ray McCallum. I think they got him from Sacramento.
They did.
I watched this guy in college when he went to the University of Detroit. He's gonna be a big point guard. He's very athletic. I think with a coach like Pop is gonna help them. And you don't hear a lot about him. And like you said, Rod, I don't think it's gonna be a foreign name this time. I think Ray McCallum is gonna be a name to watch in San Antonio. So keep an eye on him.
Well, I'm looking at this Nikolai guy they drafted at center, because they let Splitter go, and I was like, dang, they let Tiago Splitter up out of there, that was their guy, and then I'm like, okay, and then like it was like right after they let him go, they went and got Nikolai. I'm like, okay, I'm like the Spurs know something, they know something.
Yeah, they got a plan B, and that McCullough guy, McCullough, he's also gonna he's going to help Tony Parker, because that's going to spare, save him throughout the year too.
Right.
Tony Parker, I believe, wore down by the time he got in the playoffs too.
Yep.
Okay, man. I fought with this one, man. I fought with this one for a minute. I'm gonna go with the Clippers, man. I'm gonna go with the Clippers. San Antonio, I know they're gonna be big mad. I think they're gonna win the. They're going to be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, and I think it's going to be a rematch in the West Finals versus San Antonio and the Clippers. And I think the Clippers are going to beat San Antonio maybe in another Game 7. But I have the Clippers coming out of the West, and I have them to play Cleveland. I have Cleveland winning it all in 6. I don't think that the Clippers are going to be able to overcome the free throw woes. I mean, that's a mentality, man. And once that stuff gets in your mind, it's in there, man. And you can work on it the whole summer. You can even get good at it. You can hit them in the gym when you're practicing and nobody's in there. When you get in the arena in crunch time in the playoffs, and you're tired, and guys been hitting you, clothesline, you going through the lane and all that. It plays on your mentality, on your psyche, man. I think the free throw problems are going to haunt them again. But I have them getting to the finals, but I have Cleveland. Cleveland is 6. If Cleveland's healthy, and it's always that if, in sports, because injuries happen, obviously. But if Cleveland goes into the finals healthy with everybody, I don't care who comes out the West. And I feel that strong about it. Won't nobody beat them. I got Cleveland winning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goodness.
I want to say this, man. I don't think the Clippers can beat the Cavs. I agree with you on that, but I'll say this. It's only 2 teams in the league in the entire league that I honestly believe can beat Cleveland when fully healthy in a 7-game series. And that's the Spurs and Houston. Oh, the only two teams I feel like in a 7-game series could beat them from a matchup standpoint.
I get the Spurs, but with Houston, the Dwight Howard factor, and Rod, you know this. You know this is what I hate this about him. That guy, he's never reached his potential. I don't know if he'll ever reach it because he plays too much. He's not serious enough. And it's like his mentality is it's not a winning mentality, not to me. He's laughing, he's always smiling, even in playoffs. It's like, dude, when are you gonna get serious? Like I can't take him serious. And he's a key part of Houston. And if he's not in there to win it, and they don't have a guy other than Mikal, with DNA with a championship, they don't have a guy in that locker room to challenge.
But the reason why I say that though, but the reason why I say they can is because I see Dwight is back in the position where he went to the finals with Orlando, where all he has to do is set a high screen and roll to the basket and play defense. That's all he has to do now. Yeah,
but in Orlando, even when he did that, I mean, you had guys like Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis. They were shooting the cover off. I mean, you don't have that in Houston. James Harden is streaky. Yeah, he can shoot it. Other than that, you don't have shooters out there like Turkoglu and Lewis. They were off the chart.
I mean, yeah, they are. See, you got a guy that you don't consider off the charts because he didn't come in off the charts. But Trevor Ariza, believe it or not, the guy shoots 38%. I was shocked. He shoots 38% from the three.
He can shoot. He plays D.
He can shoot. He played D. And I forget they got another shooter too, coming off the bench. So I can't think of his name right now.
I mean, they added Decker. I don't know if that's what you're talking about though.
No, I don't think it's somebody else too. Let me see if I can pull them up. But yeah, they and then I feel like defensively, and offensively, they got guards to go back at Kyrie Irving. Like I think Ty Lawson gives Kyrie Irving all he can handle, going right back at him. And then if you want to, muck it up and put a Dellavedova or Mo Williams out there, I think that Patrick Beverly, yeah,
Mo Williams is. I don't think they're going to miss a beat during the first half of the season or whenever, how long. Mo Williams is a guy now where he doesn't have to be the guy or even the second guy. And that's dangerous because a couple of years ago when he had that role in Portland, he was deadly coming off the bench backing up Lillard. Whenever the pressure isn't on Mo Williams, he's very valuable, man. So, like I say, man, if Cleveland is healthy,
all right,
it's always that if.
Oh yeah. I mean, and like I say, I mean, in both, well, and I can say both cases, versus Houston, I lean Cleveland, but I'm saying Houston's one of those teams I feel if they made it, they got a shot, they got a legit shot.
Well, with Howard defending the rim, that definitely helps, and perimeter defense or perimeter guys that they do have, and then they have their scorer too with Harden, so. If LeBron scores 30, Harden can score 30, so it would be interesting. I think that actually there's 5 teams that could beat Cleveland in the finals. I mean, if you just look at my rankings, I mean, if you mentioned Houston earlier, the Clippers, I mean, they have a front line too. And, Blake Griffin will be a problem for a lot of people. He's underrated with his assist game. He just had a 10 assist game, I think, just the other night.
I was telling Wasey the other day, man. I said Blake Griffin, he's a top 5 player right now. He's a top 5 player.
Yeah, and then the Spurs, obviously, Oklahoma City, Golden State. I mean, not saying that they all would. I can't just bet everything on my wallet that they would just win the whole thing. But I mean, it's a pretty good chance that those teams, could beat whoever comes out the East. But for my final, I have the Clippers and the Cavaliers, and I put down the Clippers to pull it off. I mean, if they're going to get it done, they're going to have to get it done this year. And I don't see any reason, and this is where it goes back to that Chris Paul conversation, that I don't see any reason why the Clippers shouldn't win this year. I mean, they pretty much have it now. They have depth. They have, they have the key players with Griffin and Paul. So I can see that they can catch the Cavs in 7 games. But it definitely won't be easy either way. And, making these predictions are fun. And I have them all listed here from the panel here. One last thing before we close out tonight. Who do you all have for the MVP of the NBA?
Wow.
I think James Harden's going to come back and claim what was his in the first place.
James Harden. Okay.
Okay. Wow. Okay, for me, it's tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
Be honest with you, man, I haven't given much thought, but if I had to just pick one, and I hate that they go off wins and losses, but I'm just gonna give
Anthony
you guys
Davis.
a name. And, yeah, Anthony Davis. I'm gonna go with Anthony Davis, man. I'm gonna go with.
That's
Anthony
outside
Davis.
the box thinking there.
Yeah, and I know wins and losses is gonna determine that. Even though it's
Yeah.
an individual award, that's another discussion. But
Right.
as far as just, I would go. I go with Anthony Davis.
Okay. I'm going with Chris Paul.
Wow.
I think that well, he has the formula to get it. I mean, if they could finish with a strong record, 1 or 2 seed in the West, he's going to dish the ball and he's going to score the ball. He's not, like you said earlier, Rod, he's not looking to score 40 a night, but I mean, if he can average 20 and 10, and he can definitely get 10 assists a game. I mean, I think he had it last year, I think he averaged 19 points and 10 assists. So I'm sure he'd get 10 assists with this roster. The way he finds people and set people up. But I think the formula is there for him to get the MVP for the first time. And, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So those are the names I have. I wanted to put LeBron James, but I think LeBron is at that stage of his career now where, he has enough MVPs, and it's more about him making it through the season and trying to gear up to win that championship. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't select LeBron.
Okay.
Well, I mean, fellas, this has been a great episode, man. Great show. We went into depth with the NBA, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, man, it's fun, man.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being on the show with you guys, man. A lot of knowledge, man. I've been in discussions with you guys from afar, and it's the first time we've been able to sit down and chop it up, and I hope we can do it again, and discuss some other topics.
Oh yeah, man.
All right.
Anytime.
Great show, man. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. And,
Great show.
continue doing what you're doing, man. Great show, man. Great thing you got going on right here, man. So, just keep it up, man. And big up to you, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, I'm glad you all was able to give your time and your knowledge, to make it what it is, man. So, for all the listeners out there, this will be posted on the Facebook page for 411 Sports World. It'll also be posted on YouTube. And if you have any questions, emails, comments, you can send it to 411 Sports World Podcast at gmail.com. On behalf of Rod and Lacey, I'm Mr. 411. You have a good night.
Peace.
All right.